let's dive into the next subject here. Hypothetical trades have made their way to the Pittsburgh Steelers headline, neither of which were ones that we have talked about, believed could have happened, would have even thought to happen, or would have made their way towards headlines. The first one here, we'll start with the more mild one. Justin Simmons, safety, superstar safety for the Denver Broncos, on his way to Pittsburgh, according to Pittsburgh Steelers Sports Illustrated's Connor Orr, who believes Justin Simmons is the perfect trade for the Steelers at the deadline, and they could get him for a third-round pick. I mean, we'll dive into that one in a second. DeAndre Hopkins is the other one, and that one is just what are we talking about here? But betonline.ag has D-Hop 5-1 odds to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are the odds-on favorite right now to land the Tennessee Titans wide receiver. I think he's 31 years old right now. I mean, you want to talk about Justin Simmons? Okay, cool. We could come up with a way to try to work him. What are you even thinking about DeAndre Hopkins? Steven, let's start with you on your thoughts on both these bad boys. And let's just leave it there. Your thoughts on both these bad boys?
Well, yeah, one of these bad boys is much worse than the others. Like DeAndre Hopkins, like I don't really understand the thought process behind this. Like, oh, let's go get a worse, older, more expensive George Pickens, and let's just throw him exactly right next to George Pickens, and like let's see how it goes. Like, I don't understand how this would move the needle at all for the Steelers. I don't even know why they'd be interested in both giving up the I guess you'd have to give up draft capital to go get him. Like I assume the Titans are looking for draft picks, and then take on his contract. Like why this team has no cap space? Where would they make the room for this? And why would they even try to make the room for this? This is not a move at all that like I think is worth it for the Steelers to even consider. I mean, pretty obviously, Justin Simmons, you could talk me into that third round pick. Like, sure, like I get it. Like that makes safety room real crowded, but like I don't know. You're telling me you can't find room for Justin Simmons? Like I think they would figure it out. Maybe you have to see a little less DeMonte KZ. Maybe you go to some 3 safety looks. I don't know. Like maybe Minka like gets moved down and starts playing like some slot corner too. I don't know. I think you have some versatile pieces in the secondary that you can move around to make room for Justin Simmons. All that said, not very likely at all. Like that's probably not worth it at all.
No, I don't think Omar Khan's sitting in the office today going, I wonder what it's going to take to get Justin Simmons over here. We should make some phone calls.
We need him. Yes, no, it's not I don't think so.
Nick, your thoughts on both these trades here.
The DeAndre Hopkins one to me is I can't even keep a straight face when it comes to that one because I'm not quite sure how that fits. Literally, the best aspect of like what they need with a slot wide receiver in particular. Like, I guess the only way I can see this kind of working is if like, okay, Hopkins is like the worst George Pickens, so that you plug him in isolation and you have Pickens kind of like block more in line. But I just think he's so good as an isolation threat. It's like, it's kind of hard to try and justify that at this point.
Yeah.
I can maybe see it, but right now Hopkins, I can't take that seriously. He's at the elder stage of his career. They already have a guy like that in Allen Robinson. We don't need another one of those guys right now. If anything, they need to be looking to the draft because those types of picks would end up being big for slot receivers, even though I don't think slot is a very deep part of the draft class currently, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But Justin Simmons makes a lot of sense actually from
Next year it would get weird.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I would want to take that contract on. And if we're looking just around the league in terms of like potential trade deals, I don't really think there's a ton that currently fit for the Steelers, aside from the Justin Simmons one and that little pipe dream that's in everyone's head that is Patrick Surtain, but that one's not happening in a
That
million
one
years.
should happen. Let's be honest. That one should. If you're gonna throw the barn at anybody, if you're gonna say, hey, look, we'll just give it all. Who cares? Whatever. It's Patrick Surtain. Like, what do you need? Like, you're telling me that you're not gonna give up? I'd give up a first and a second, and I'd say, what are we gonna get in the first and the second round that we're not gonna get in Patrick Surtain? Nothing. Here's your first and second round pick. Take it.
Him as bait for their other trade targets right now. And when it comes to Surtain, like, he is one of those players. He's like a blue chip. He's one of those guys who should net like maybe 3, maybe 2 first-round draft picks. Like, they don't want to give him up for free. Like, it's not going to be like Minka Fitzpatrick. Like, what they got out of him in like 2019 was insane, and I can't see them getting a guy like Surtain. And I don't really think there's a ton of trade targets that make sense aside from Simmons if you want to take that contract on.
Yeah, so the Justin Simmons one makes, just like you guys said, makes a little bit of sense, just because, like, to a point, you're just like, well, what's too much talent in the secondary? Nah, not a bad thing, apparently. And you can move those guys around. Minka's already been playing a lot of slot, like you said, Steven. I could see him playing a little bit more. Justin Simmons does that. Maybe you can move. DeMonte KZ's got a full year in the slot over in Dallas, so that could be a move as well. Keanu Neal's got, work everywhere, but I don't think Keanu Neal's necessarily played all that great this season. The big thing with Justin Simmons' contract here, just to spark a little bit more something on this conversation, there's an out next year where the dead cap's only $3.75 million. That's not terrible. Now, that being said, if you keep him, his cap hit is $18.25 million. So that's a lot of money for a safety on top of, I believe Minka's is right around the same price tag there, just about 18 something. That's too much money for safeties. If you're going to go do it, I think you're getting rid of everybody else next season. Like, you're looking at it and just going, all right, well, Levi's gone. He's not coming back. KZ's not coming back. Keanu Neal's not, like, you're just clearing house to try and find somebody next to Joey Porter Jr. and then you move on and then you just build young around those guys. I also think he's 31 years old next season. Like, at what point are you taking a little bit of a risk? He's going to be looking for money after next season. That gets dangerous too. Look, if you go into Jacksonville and you win and you look real good and Kenny Pickett looks real good and Matt Canada fire Matt Canada chance don't make their way to the field at all, not one time. Maybe on Tuesday you're thinking of a crazy move just because you're like, well, screw it. Let's just see what we could pull this. Let's see what we could pull off. Let's see what we get done. Then it makes some sense. Besides that, Patrick Surtain's the only one I'm throwing the house at, and I'm going to get him. I don't care what I got to do. I'm going to get him. You got another young corner there, Nick. You do some scouting around the league. You got another young corner out there that maybe the Steelers can make a phone call for? Jalen Johnson was the other one, but he's looking to sign a contract in Chicago, I feel like.
Yeah, that one's probably not going to happen. One that I saw, I was looking at PFF's website. PFF Brad mentioned Christian Fulton of the Tennessee Titans.
I saw that.
Who's had a very up and down career in Tennessee.
I was going to say, he doesn't even look good this year.
Yeah, it's not a very pretty trade landscape at corner and even safety, but like guys like Simmons are, those are the types of guys you take a chance on if you can get them for the right price. I don't really see too many other targets outside the guys we've mentioned currently.
What about Dante Jackson?
I don't think the Panthers part with him currently. I think young players like that, as much as like they're on expiring deals and stuff, they're not going to get the largest of hauls for a player like that as much as they want.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when they're trading those types of guys, they want second round draft picks. They want to try and surround Bryce Young with some talent. So I definitely get that, but they're probably not going to get the pick they're looking for. And if they're looking to sign Dante Jackson in the offseason, keep him at that point. But Jackson's a guy I'll leave on the footnote as a potential, but it would only depend if like they actually wanted to trade him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Not realistic. I don't know. Did you have a realistic one, Steven? You're looking at the camera like maybe you did.
I mean, like watching the Bills game, they were talking about Kyer Elam. He seems like a young guy with some talent.
Second, they're looking to trade him already.
Oh yeah. I think so. I'm pretty sure. I don't have a source or whatever to back that up, but I think they were. I think they are looking to move on from that guy. Quite honestly, I don't think they've been very impressed with him. Like my roommate's a Bills fan, and he was like, "Yeah, that guy's stunk. I hope they get rid of him very soon." Yeah, I think it's been an up and down career, but I think there's some talent there. He was really the only guy that came to mind for me, and I don't even know if. I mean, I feel like he's another Darius Rush, it would be another young guy you're taking a flyer on when another team has given up on him, which isn't exactly super encouraging.
Yeah. He did get benched for Josh Norman yesterday. So that's
which is not a good look. In the year 2023, that is not a great look. That's
a rough one. That's a name that surprised me, but I guess I haven't been paying attention enough to realize that he hasn't been good. He had some hype coming out of college, out of Florida. Did like him. We'll see what happens. Tuesday is going to come, and it's going to be. Look, I kind of expect something. What that something is, we'll figure out.